talk about it, someone who has a bird's eye view of how this thing actually works, somebody whose video went viral when she actually, a couple of times she's had viral videos in Michigan where she has convicted or sent police officers actually to jail for police brutality, which is unheard of in this country. As we sit here today seeing Daniel Pantaleo lose his job in New York for choking Eric Garner to death, this woman understands the justice system probably better than most. Let me welcome. She was the judge for the Third Circuit Court in Wayne County, Michigan, elected back in 1996, re-elected 2002, 2008, 2014. Let me welcome to the show, Vonda Evans.
Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing?
I am awesome.
I'm such a big fan of yours. Listen, exactly. You know what? I couldn't believe when I got an opportunity that you wanted to interview. I'm like, you know what? I'm not a judge anymore. What's going on? I mean, So anyway, it's an honor and a privilege. I mean, you do such cutting edge broadcasting, things that we need in the community. We just don't need entertainment. We need people to actually be about, the business of educating our community. And that's what it's all about, but we have to do it in a forum that we don't lose them. And that's what I really like about what you do. You're able to interview people who are celebrities, but yet you bring it to the social consciousness arena and you educate them and they don't even know what's going on. So I love that.
Well, the interview's over now. You've done everything that I needed on.
Thank you.
but no, so listen, and back at you, when I watched the videos of you in that courthouse, I saw somebody who was not just unapologetically who she is, but also somebody that had a distaste for injustice. And I wonder, how difficult it was to sit in that seat, and you were elected, so we just had a caller before the comment interview talk about voting doesn't matter, why do we vote, it doesn't seem like it's having any impact, and then I think Vonda Evans was elected, not once, not twice, but 4 times to sit on that court, and her presence there made a difference. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, let me just say this to you. Your vote is your voice. And right now, we're not hearing our voice in politics because too many people are staying home. One of the things about the people who do support Donald Trump have realized, guess what? Their vote counts. And they make sure that when they go to the polls, not one, but at least 15 or 20, they're the majority. So a lot of times what we're finding out is that people who once took the vote for granted realize the strength of the vote. Let me tell you something. People say, it doesn't matter who's going to be the president. The president determines who's going to be your federal judges. Your federal judges are the one that interpret federal laws. Okay. So what we have to realize is that, that's just not somebody, it doesn't make a difference if it was with Trump or was Barack Obama. Guess what? My life is the same. Let me just say this to you. Those people who interpret federal laws are interpreting not to help us, but really to hinder us. As far as my election was concerned, let me tell you something. I'm going to keep it 100. I ran a very grassroots campaign, okay? My ex-husband said, listen, we're going to take it to the street. And his good friend, Greg Mathis, said, listen, you got to go where the voters are. Forget all of these slates and organizations. Take it to the people. And that's what I did. Girl, listen, you know how the only way I got advertising is if somebody raided somebody's house and they saw my sign out front. I was like, okay, I was on TV. But we had to do what was necessary to reach the forgotten voter. The one that said, it didn't matter. I remember when I very first ran, it was really touching. I had a woman and she was Muslim. And she said, you know what? I've never voted, but I'm going to vote for you because I know you're going to do the right thing. And let me just say this to you. That really touched me. And our campaign was one of inclusion, not exclusion. And, although, we went on and we divorced and he went on to do his thing, I never forgot the people. I never forgot I was the voice of the people. And yes, is that hard? Absolutely. Because let me say this to you. Every decision I made, whether it was on TV or not, I was passionate about what I did. I believe in what I do. You understand that? And a lot of people didn't like that. And guess what? So be it. But at the end of the day, can't nobody live for me and ain't nobody gonna die for me. I know that's for sure. So I got to make sure that in between that, I handle my business.
And you did it. We're talking with now Attorney Vonda.
Yes.
And you can follow her on the Twitters and Vonda's Law.
Vonda's Law. Yes, it is. I am Vonda's Law. And you know, the thing about it is that when you've done something for a very long time like I did, you realize that you're starting to get burned out. I always had a passion, but day in, day out, I was only in the criminal division. I needed to do something different. I needed to do something more. Well, then I made a decision with the Court of Appeals that was, you had criminal, you had civil, etc. But then what I realized is that, you know what, when that didn't work out, you know what I said? You come from the people, go back to the people, and you be their voice. And you go and represent them, and you go into the courtroom. And let me say this to you. It hasn't been that long that I've been out, but let me tell you, the response that I'm getting is so phenomenal because I believe in people having justice. That's important to me. You know, I can't tell you how much, and especially in this time. Now, remember, in 96, even it was a different time. You know what I'm saying? Very, very different. Now it's okay to be prejudiced and to express it.
Have you seen evolution? And I want to have you on more frequently because I think what we don't have a lot of is strategy. What we don't have a lot of is understanding of how the courts work. I try to have as many attorneys on as possible. Of course, Solomon Simmons, Demario Solomon Simmons, Merritt Lee, of course, Laree is on our show every week. Laree Favors. I try to have as many lawyers. We got Laura Coates on the channel. You know, but as I look at, you know, the work that you've done, including sentencing a couple of cops for being racist, for police brutality, like that's unheard of.
Well, listen, let me tell you something. You know what? I had to do what I had to do. Let me just say this to you. As an elected official, you're the voice of those people. You're the voice of the people on the east side, on the west side. You're their voice. And let me say this to you. My voice was going to be heard. I bite my tongue. I didn't mince my words. I said what I meant and I meant what I said. And we don't have enough people that are like that. I'm not trying to, people just say, well, I don't, this is how I feel privately or, whatever. But when I looked at the number of police shootings, killings, lynchings, and these police go free, I said, let me tell you something. One thing is for sure, that if this jury convicts this guy, they're going to hear what I have to say. And I felt that my sentence was appropriate. Listen, I couldn't believe that people looked at that thing 15 or over 20 million times on 20 minutes. I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. But girl, let me tell you what happened. Half of the stuff that I said, I didn't even remember me saying it. It just came from my heart. It came from my belly. It came from being a black woman having to apologize or tell my daughter to apologize for her blackness. It came from being in a community that I have seen is in fear of police. And we shouldn't live like that. That not when we in the 20th century. But we have actually turned the time back. You know, my daughter's at school at LSU. She said, Mama, I'm afraid to do anything here. You know, they say that if LSU, Louisiana, were a country, they'd have the largest inmate population in the world. They got the 3 strikes you out. They have privatization of prisons. And guess what? Guess what's underneath automotive? Privatization of prisons. It's money in prisons. It's big money. And the thing about it is that it was open season that you see around for people who kill police officers. You know what I'm saying? I mean that strike there for police officers that kill black people. It was open season. Oh, I didn't know he was armed. He looked dangerous. Come on, please. I was surprised, believe it or not, that even with the video that the jury had the courage to do it. But may I say this? Out of that jury composition, we had 5 white people. And Injustice is blind when you deal with people who have a conscience.
Right. So that, let's speak to that too, because as much as we talk about voting, more of us sit at home than not, particularly in underserved communities. We talk about Ferguson, only 17% of people showed up to vote after Mike Brown was murdered, right? After he was killed by
That's right.
Aaron Wilson. And we don't serve on juries, right?
No.
And so, we talk about injustice, but we don't do the basic things that we need to do to protect ourselves from this system. And I was saying before you got on at the top of the show that this system has loopholes that we can exploit, like voting, like showing up for juries. Like, there are ways in which we can gain power by just showing up and doing the right thing.
But it's only through shows like yours that we can tell people, that we can let people know why it's so important. When I can be able to say, you know what, had I had a different composition on some of the juries that I've had, I would have had different outcomes. When I say, I used to have to tell my jury, I say, African Americans have not always had the right to vote. I said back when Emmett Till was lynched and killed, no white person could serve on the jury.
No black person.
No black person. Now, no black people want to serve on the jury in Wayne County. We got to change that. We got to stand up as Americans, and we got to do the right thing, because no matter what, we're all in this together. And it was very passionate. I used to tell them, all I'm asking you to do, not give any blood, nothing. I'm asking you to come in here with an open mind and let your voice, let your thoughts be heard. Yes, it's an inconvenience. Yes, they don't pay well. But at the end of the day, you're doing something that matters. And a lot of times when I would have to talk to them so passionately, many people said, you know what, I'm going to serve, because I almost had to embarrass some. But you know what they said to me time and time again? I'm coming back because I like it. Because we have to make justice accessible to people. That's why people always say, well, why do you, do social media? Why'd you do it when you were a judge? Because we need transparency. We need to know who we're electing. We need to know how they live. We need for them to be open so that we can be able to make a decision. Is this someone that has the viewpoint that I have? And does this person have the courage that I have?
So now you're a lawyer. Now you're representing all sorts of people. What's that transition from the bench to now being on the other side?
Well, let me just say this to you. I keep saying the defendant or something like that. I forget. What I really see, it's amazing. I see how much and how important it is to have people to represent you that are respected. Because if they don't respect who you are, the judges, they tend to not treat you as well. So the clients that I come in, because I was a former judge, they have a lot of respect for me because they know I'm no nonsense. And in the legal field, we call it lifting. I can lift, okay? I know what to do. But there is a respect for me. And so I see the difference. And it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I just wonder if I were just Vonda Evans, somebody just straight out of law school, would my client get this level of, fairness? I just had a judge today that said, you asked me to do something I normally don't do, but you backed it up with reasons and it made sense. And guess what? My client was able to be very successful in what he did. I only wish that my shine or whatever could be on other people. That somehow when we see, people come in the court system, that they would be able to get a fair shake the way that many people, do when I come in. But it is very different. Do I love it? Absolutely. Because I get to do a variety of things. I may have criminal, I may have civil, I may have real estate, I may have anything. So you know what? It's way better. And it's diverse. You know what I'm saying? I've got black clients, I've got white clients, but you know what? I'm not really working really hard. I'm working smart though. And I absolutely love it. I tell you, because I love justice. I have a passion for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I love it.
VondasLaw.com is where you can find her, Attorney Vonda, on social media. Give us 3 tips for people who might come before a judge and they don't have the benefit of having a judge, Vonda Evans, but they have a judge that doesn't look like them them that is not from their culture or community and that may see them as somebody not worthy of justice? How can we navigate that? What are some tips that you can give us?
Number one, and this is so important, everybody judges you by your appearance. You know what I tell them? Go straight to a store, buy a button-up shirt, buy some black slacks, and buy the cheapest pair of black shoes you can find. What you don't want to do is draw attention to you based on your attire. It's unfortunate that many people judge us by the way that we dress. If you're a woman, wear a very traditional black dress or white dress, something very traditional. We've gotten away from people going to court being dressed up so that when you are, the judges tend to treat you much differently because they feel that you're respecting their proceeding. So that's what I would say, number one. Number two, make sure that you listen and that you're prepared. Everybody can't afford a lawyer, but what you can do is make sure that everything that you put together, that you say to the judge, not that you got to write it down, but it makes sense and it's in a logical fashion. And number three, listen. Don't overtalk your judge. Even if they are like, oh my God, is this, men are, what is it, from Venus or whatever? Listen to your judge. Let them rant. Let them rave. Go ahead. Don't interrupt them. That's one of the worst things that you can do is to interrupt a person whose decision of whether or not you have a liberty or not rests with them. And so you can have a person who had a bad day, a bad night, anything. Don't overtalk them, but the most important thing, appearances are everything. And the first appearance is lasting. So come in there with your little white shirt on, little button up for my guys. Don't come in there with no Cartiers on, jewelry. My ladies, we seeing your tattoos. Don't come into court like that. That turns judges right off. And I remember being in a lot of judicial seminars talking about the attire and how it just was a turnoff to people, to judges especially, to see how they were attired.
Especially those that are not culturally attuned. This is the beginning of a conversation, and I want to continue to have it with you. So will you be open to coming back on?
I am so honored. I love your platform. I love what you do. I love the fact that you are willing to grab injustice by the horns, deal with it, identify it, deal with it, and then let your listeners and viewers understand what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? As Thurgood Marshall used to say, ain't no difference between a black snake or a white snake. They both bite. So what we have to do is to get beyond the rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? See what these people stand for. You understand? But you can't whitewash or blackwash the truth. The truth is what it's going to be. And what is your truth? Your truth is historical. Let me tell you something that a FBI agent once said. Historical information is indicative. It's predictive of future outcome. I said indicative. And he said, no, predictive. He said, if we get enough historical information on what you do, what you like, we know who you are. And what we need to do is we need to identify all of these, false people who are out here that may be the same color as us, but don't have the same agenda as us. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We're going to get cut off by the clock.
Okay, but thank you so much. It was such an honor. I want to come back.
Vonda Evans, also known as Attorney Vonda, appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.